Hey guys, Matt here with an analysis video covering both HUNDEGNI 3.7 and HUNDEGNI 3.8. There's multiple reasons we're pairing these two up in the same video, the biggest of which being that they were uploaded and subsequently investigated at roughly the same times, and we've yet to solve either in a meaningfully deep way right now. Nevertheless, this video will outline some of the findings and theories we've been compiling and attempting to break down these uploads. I'll be starting with 3.7 of course, but if you'd like to skip to 3.8, here is the time code for that. Now, without further delay, let's hop right into things. HUNDEGNI 3.7 was uploaded on December 25th, Christmas of 2018. Interestingly, the video seemed to go up at exactly 6 PM Eastern Standard Time, indicating Mangled may be from a region which utilizes Eastern Time, and that he likely doesn't upload the videos exactly on their posting days, but rather prepares them sometime in advance so that they can be automatically uploaded at a designated time. We also believe 3.8 came out around 6 PM, so there's likely some sort of pattern at play here that we should look into more when 3.9 comes out. Now, immediately the circular code displayed in this video is clearly related to the orbit code seen first in 3.3. This video only shows us a quarter of this code, leading us to believe that the other 3 pieces will be released in 3 other upcoming videos. This would seem to confirm HUNDEGNI will indeed be continuing into a 4.x series, which some of us had been doubting beforehand. Nevertheless, we're not really any closer to figuring out how this code works than we were when 3.3 was released. We often debate over whether this quadrant is necessary to solve 3.3 or if it's entirely separate and part of a different message entirely. Mangled has never blatantly recycled the code before, at least not without some kind of twist, and while I suppose dividing the code into 4 pieces is sort of different, it's still not that big of a change. However, this new orbit portion does at least allow us to look into certain patterns and similarities between the two. A major difference is that there's a whole new stack of circles or orbs attached to the far right of 3.7, whereas these are not present at all in 3.3. In fact, 3.7 has more orbs in general, perhaps indicating a longer, more complex message. The two are similar in that they both use the same color schemes, occasionally stack quadrants, and have small black dots which form arrows that point towards areas where these stacked quadrants occur. We believe the dots are just there for visual aid and not necessary towards solving the code, though this may change. We also think the fact that 3.8 shows us the upper right quadrant of the entire code first could mean that the whole code, or at least the individual circles, are intended to be read the same way, starting in the upper right corner and moving clockwise until a full rotation has been made. 2 ideas that have come up revolve around trochoids and Gallifreyan. The former concept, trochoids, roughly involves creating images by fixing a drawing point to a certain area of a moving circle or series of circles. While this concept is fascinating, it would do little to explain both the color choices on the orbit code and the stacked quadrants, and we've yet to come across anyone good enough with animation to even consider plotting out what this code would look like when spinning. Gallifreyan is a circular language depicted in the show Doctor Who and does feature circles attached to one another in various ways, but once again they don't rely on color or stacked quadrants and also incorporate many other distinct features like lines, divots, and circles within circles. All that being said, the concept for the orbit code had to have come from somewhere, and it's not inconceivable that Mangled got inspiration for the orbit code from Gallifreyan. There was also some debate on how exactly these codes are being created, whether by hand or by some program. Some very rough pixel measurements of my own revealed that both codes average in about 439 by 541 pixels, which, while not tiny, is still somewhat small for a code so complex. Though both the codes are similar in size, likely being the exact same size if I'm to be honest, that it would seem to confirm more than anything that they are indeed made by a program with a standard size structure. We've theorized that the program may plot out all the circles and dots, leaving Mangled to just fill in the colors by hand, as that would allow for the initial program to be created with far more ease. Visually, the background of this video shows a person moving along an outdoor path, which is practically identical to the shots we'd previously seen in HUNDEGNI 3.2, leading us to believe that the footage here was not taken on a separate day or in a different area entirely. The footage is notably slowed down, leaving us with little idea as to what the legitimate speed of the video is supposed to look like. Some have speculated the individual is running down the path due to the slightly shakier camera movements, but there's little else to back this up. As for the audio, this upload begins with the sound of what appears to be simply a droning car horn, which would easily fit into the concept of Brett having died in a car accident. More interestingly is the fact that the video goes on to feature a bizarre tune in the background. We've gotten differing results from speeding up or slowing down this track, as the music can sound like either Halloween ambiance or carnival-esque music. Some have claimed to hear distorted voices in the audio, while others have said they hear a voice harmonizing with the tune itself, but these interpretations are not ubiquitous. And even if there was talking, it'd be far too distorted to make any sense of. We've sort of developed a hierarchy of importance when it comes to elements of these videos. Codes are perhaps the most important aspects, which are always meant to be analyzed. Footage or location are the second most important, followed by voices, then music, and finally simplistic sounds which, more often than not, don't have a purpose, in our opinion. And unfortunately, that's about all we have for 3.7 right now. Obviously, we can't make much leeway with this, as we've yet to even figure out how 3.3 works, and the other pieces have still not been released. Hopefully this can change in time as we incorporate more ideas into the equation. Moving on, 3.8 was uploaded on December 31st of 2018 or New Year's Eve at presumably 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 3.8 does not feature a visual code, but rather gets its message across through the use of a computerized voice listing off letters of the alphabet. We're unsure if this voice is supplied by Mangled himself or simply taken from a text-to-speech program, although the fact that every repeated character is said in the exact same tone and within the exact same period of time, text-to-speech seems to be the more viable option of the two. Unlike 3.7, I'll save our thoughts on this code for the very end and instead focus on the location pictured here. The individual filming this video is standing under what appears to be a dilapidated pavilion, bringing back thoughts of the abandoned greenhouse we saw back in 3.3. Though perhaps the pavilion might not be quite as bad, as the spaces in the roof appear more like skylights rather than missing boards. The video is once again slowed down like 3.7 was, but not nearly as much, as the camera is shown panning to the side and looking at what appears to be a large mound of dirt amongst the trees and dead leaves. Immediately one comes to the conclusion that this looks eerily similar to a shallow grave, and this may be in some way related to the yellow tape pictured at 3.2's end. I think all of us on the server have been hesitant to touch on this since it's quite different from anything we've noted in past HUNDEGNI videos. A murderous crime being brought into the equation is definitely some territory we are not used to exploring and therefore may take some time to fully grasp or commit to. Little else about the area can be noted here, though there is a sound around the beginning of the video that seems similar to a train's horn, perhaps hinting that the area could be near some railways. So if we were to narrow things down based off everything these videos have shown us up to this point, the area in these videos should consist of obviously a somewhat large forested area with various paths and large buildings still visible in the distance, a derelict greenhouse and pavilion, a nearby railway, a creek or other body of water with an old metal fence in the vicinity, a freshly mowed portion of land with a path of some sort and possibly distant graves upon a hill, a medium-sized storage barn or shed of some kind, and perhaps this building in the vicinity as well, all wrapped up somewhere within Augusta, Maine. Despite all of this, we've still yet to find a location that fits each of these attributes, and the railroad idea may perhaps be the shakiest of all of them. Also prominent in this video is the presence of two strange symbols which appear at the video start and end. They are comprised of white pixels, the first forming an X shape and the second forming a shape that can't really be compared to anything. Our initial thought was to overlay these symbols, but this gave us little more than just another shape that has no real logical meaning. We really haven't made any more progress when it comes to these symbols, as most of our attention has gone to the letters the voice utters. These letters are really difficult to make out, especially at the beginning, as some are just quite faint or otherwise sound similar to each other, like E or B for example. Curiously, some letters are left out of the list entirely, like seemingly D, J, P, and W, as well as a few more which are still being debated. There's little we can do with this code until we can mostly agree on what all the letters are, and that's just taking a lot of time. Many people do think that this is tied to the recent 3.6 video, which honestly would not surprise me too much, though how the 3.6 colors play into things is anyone's guess. Curiously, there is a loud single beep after 7 letters are stated. It was recently noted that there are 56 letters mentioned total, and that 56 divided by 7 equals a solid 8. Could this indicate that the letters are meant to be broken up into groups of 7, 8 times? It's difficult to say right now, but that won't stop us from continuing to ask questions. And with that, I'd like to bring this analysis video to an end. As always, big thanks to everyone on the Discord server who have been providing us with theories, findings, or just general thoughts. The link to that server and to our new subreddit are in the description, as are any potentially large updates found after this video has been uploaded. Thanks for watching, guys. Matt, out.